South Africa beat Ireland by 33 runs in the first T20I, and they should have a smile on their face about the bowling performance. It was clinical from the bowlers, particularly a spinning masterclass from Shamsi and from George Linder. Shamsi finishing with 4 for 27. He almost got his best figures, but just missed it with that boundary in the last ball of his last over. Ultimately, a good bowling performance. Unfortunately, the South Africa couldn't bowl Ireland out, which they would have hoped they could do quickly. I think that 32 extra runs were scored, basically, I would say, because they should have bowled them out for 100 or just over 100. I think that they should have used a lot more Yorker deliveries. They did do the slower deliveries quite well. The execution of the slower deliveries and slower bounces were quite good. Particularly Lungi Ngidi coming back with some awesome performance in this particular game. I think he deserves some credit for the way he bowled as a seaman. Kagiso Rabada was excellent. We were hoping for a little bit more of wickets from Lazard Williams, of course. He showed good aggression, though, throughout the game. Even that little shoulder barge he showed at the end against McCarthy. Would I say he's the guy that jumps in the in the group of Ireland? So it was a very brave move from him to do a little shoulder barge and emphasis on little over there as well, because we know that what happened earlier in the other matches. But ultimately, a good victory for South Africa. Very happy to go 1-0 up in the series. But we're going to discuss it today on the show. We're going to see which guests join us. But myself and Aditya are going to start talking about this. We're going to start off this conversation and see who joins us as well on the show. But ultimately, a 1-0 win for South Africa. Good way to start the series. And looking forward to the rest of the show. If you guys are joining and you are new to this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Let's get straight into this review show today. I'm switching it over to the review show right now. We did our daily show earlier. We spoke about the batting. But now let's review the entire match between South Africa and Ireland. Let's get straight into it. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Moedin. This is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the match between Ireland and South Africa. The first T20I was just played and South Africa getting their victory. At first and foremost, we have to talk about the batting. I know we've done a whole show on this, Aditya, the two of us, about it. I would like to hear some of the other guys, if they do decide they're going to come on the show, if they can give us some insight into what they thought. But ultimately, I think it was an okay batting performance. Would have liked to see more. I think that the loss of the wickets was something that could be prevented. I think that they kind of threw their wickets away in majority of them. I have to give credit where it's due, and of course Markram put in a good performance, but unfortunately going out in that naughty 30s, I call it for him. Normally people go out in the naughty 90s or those nervous 90s, or they call it. And I think it's more nervous 30s for Markram. We've seen that often in the white ball arena, that he goes out in the 30s. So a good performance from him though. Obviously would have loved to see him get a 50. Rassie van der Dussen getting a good start, hoping to push on, losing his wicket. And basically we are where we are with regards to the batting. We've got Mpo waiting for us over here as well. We're going to join him. We didn't get your opinion, Mpo, on the batting performance. Mm-hmm. We did a little daily show today about...
Wait, in between the innings?
Yes, we did a daily show today between the innings about the batting. So we themed it around, because our daily show is generally a evergreen type of show where people can come back and come watch, can watch it a couple of days from now. Although we did have a buyer giving us updates about the game. Generally speaking, we were talking about the batting performance, because this wasn't something that was new to this particular game. That 165 is something that mistakes made, something that we've been seeing for quite some time now. Aditya has given his information in depth about this, so I'm just going to get your view on this. A lot of the guys were actually asking, "Where's Paul?" because they wanted to know what you had to say about Pavuma specifically.
I was in commentary. Yeah. Look, Timber had a mare today with that shot. Everyone had a mare. They just couldn't pick the slow. Why does it with South Africans not being able to pick a slower ball? But like making Markadere look like he's the world's greatest bowler. But it was firstly for me, to start with the composition of the side. You had 4 openers at the top. Like, what are you doing? First of all, what's the plan? Because you're going against everything you did in the West Indies. Now you're like, okay, whoever's on 4 must just go in. And that makes no sense because there's no role clarity. There's nothing. All it is, it's putting David Miller and Rassie van der Dussen lower down the order when they actually need to be much higher. So for me, that was my number one thing. I was like, okay, Mark, what are you doing? Or Mark and Victor and the selectors, because it's not only Mark anymore. Second thing is the way in which we went about doing things, right? Yes, the wicket was slower. So you could say that maybe they were trying to be cute with a lot of their shots. A lot of them were mistimed. Quinny was mistimed because he couldn't see a slow ball. Yanaman Malan got the inside half of his bat. It went squarer than where he needed it to go. But all unnecessary shots from the top 5, including Aiden Markram there towards the back end. There was no need for him to double step. He was doing fine. He was doing okay. The state of this, and we spoke about this yesterday. Under reading the situation, nobody read the situation today, and it was really disappointing for me from a Timber perspective because I was like, dude, you've lost 2 wickets in the power play. Losing a third is criminal. If you shouldn't win games if you lose 3 wickets in the power play, it shouldn't happen. And for me, that's where the thing is. It's maybe the captaincy of South African cricket is weighing too heavily on him. I don't know, but he has to score runs in order for him to stay in the team. Yes, he's running out of in the eyes of the public, he's running out of opportunities. They made him the captain. They've seen something in him. And I don't think in a team like this that is very limited from a batting perspective that you can have somebody in the side who's just there on leadership. He needs to score runs. He needs to show us the form he showed us all in that CSA T20 earlier on last year when he started playing the T20s and he opened with Quinton, and also against England late last year. So that for me is the key thing. It's like he's trying too hard. He's not focusing on his game. He's trying too hard. I love that reverse sweep. I've seen him play it thousands and thousands of times. 9 times out of 10, he doesn't get the edge. 9 times out of 10, it comes off the middle of the bat and it goes to the boundary. So I'm angry at him because it was unnecessary based on the time of the thing. All that batting lineup showed me is the same thing I've spoken. All this batting performance showed me. This team has no plan. This team does not know how to build a T20 innings, even though they think they do. It feels, and that's why I disagreed with you yesterday, Khalid. You're telling guys to play their natural game. Well, this is what the natural game is. Everybody feels that they want to be aggressive. That's not it. That's not going to help the cause of the team.
But that's not their natural game.
We need to tell people
that's
their
the
job.
point.
What's everyone's job? And so here's the thing. If you picked Yanaman Malan as the 4th opener, right, at number 4 and number 3, what was his role today? Did you clarify to him that his role was that he needed to try and bat until probably over number 10 and possibly even move forward from there? So the question from me is, what is the plan with the batting? I haven't seen it. It's really disappointing that you score 160 and we're happy with the bowling, but against a better team in a World Cup, 160 is not enough. It's never enough. It's only enough 1 times out of 10. And in those times, there's scoreboard pressure involved. There's so many other things involved in those moments. And so I'm very disappointed in the batting lineup today. Yes, guys scored runs, but it wasn't enough. And to a certain extent, this team does not understand how to bat with somebody and how to bat in a team, because sometimes you need to do things that are out of your game plan or character in order to advance the cause of the team. And that for me is the irritation and the issue right now. Everyone's playing for themselves. It's a team that's reliant on somebody to hit out and somebody to score, instead of us coming together and working together to get a better score. We got 160 with everybody doing individual things. Even Kagiso batted really well, 19 off 9. That was really good. But if they all tried to bat together, we could have gotten to 180. If they all just took a break, took a beat, and I'm sure someone's going to say it was bubble fatigue, and somehow after 20 overs, they were happy and they were fine. So for me, that's the one issue that they have. But outside of that, I was just truly disappointed. I'm disappointed in Demba most, because he just let steal. It was irresponsible.
Yeah, so my thing is that when I say playing a natural game, etc., Maricha, you can come in here as well. They didn't do that today, because when you lose a wicket quickly, like Quinton came out playing his natural game, and that's what we can expect from him. And he got a quick 20. Like, if he doesn't score a massive score, then getting quick runs in the power play is also very important to put some pressure on Ireland. But then we come out with Janneman Malan, and Janneman tries to attack and keep that momentum going instead of just taking a beat and stepping back and just saying, let me just play my natural game now, because the situation, because Quinton scored a quick 20, he had the opportunity, or he had the luxury of sitting back and just playing his normal game, like we saw him in the ODIs. Because in ODIs and in T20s, as an opener, there's similarities. So you can take more of a breath when you're an opener, or you're coming in when there was a quick wicket. He didn't do so. He looked to continue that attacking mindset without his eye being in, and that's why he lost his wicket in the way he did. And then the next wicket fell as well. Same situation. Temba and Vavuma trying to pick up the pace when he didn't need to. He just had to sit back and say, look, you guys, let's get ourselves to a target by the end of the 10th over. Or let's go till 7 overs and say, let's try to have this amount of runs by the 7th over. And then just take it bat deep, one of them at least, and let's, when the guys when their eyes are in, they can smack the ball around. And that's something that we know from these type of batsmen, like especially Janneman Malan. So then that's what I meant by playing natural games, is actually reading the situation. If they do adapt the game according to situations, they'll play a lot better than trying to force an attacking brand. And that's why our headline on the last video was attacking and sloppy, not attacking and smart, because we become sloppy when we play that type of game. We're not playing a smart brand of cricket. We're playing an aggressive brand of cricket and hoping that it comes off and persisting with that. It's almost like they have the mentality beforehand and said, okay, guys, we're going to go out there. This wicket is good for the first couple of overs, and then it's going to slow down towards the end. Let's try to get as many runs as possible early on. Let's go out and attack. And even though we will lose a wicket, we're going to continue with the same mindset instead of sitting back and saying, "Well, look here, let me change my mentality going forward." Aditya, what did first and foremost, we can just give a little bit of what we said over there, but also what did Ireland do wrong?
Look, I think generally the batting on this surface today has been far from satisfactory from both teams. South Africa bowled better today, and that's why they've won the game. But neither team has assessed the wicket well. You know, it's shocking for Ireland that your number 9 batsman is probably scoring like 30 odd runs, and he's figured out a way to play on this wicket. But it was quite obvious from the early dismissals that this was a slow pitch. It required a different mode of play. This is exactly the sort of pitch where you pierce the gaps, run hard, and try to employ a low-risk approach, because that's how you're going to increase your run rate. And then when you get the bad ball, smack it out of the park. You know, but my concern generally with South Africa is that I don't feel like the team is growing. You know, what we're seeing right now is exactly what we said during the West Indies series and during the Pakistan series. And in international cricket, that's a lot. You know, they've got access to the best facilities. They've got a data analyst. They've got a coach who's played 100 test matches and like 15 years of international cricket. Is a legend. But the team is not growing. I don't see any growth in the team. So my question is that how do you get players to improve their analysis of a wicket? How do you get players to improve their assessment of a match situation? Because again, at the moment, there's neither. As Pope mentioned yesterday, MS Dhoni and Faf du Plessis, they get a good understanding of what a good score is on the wicket, and then they keep reviewing it and find a way to get there as quickly as possible. The South African team is not doing that, and I wonder what the team can do to make amends, certainly in these two departments before the World Cup.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Paul, I'm gonna guys, I see 40 people are tuning in. I want to get 40 likes on this particular video, so smash that like button, please, guys. Paul, there shouldn't be excuses in this day and age, especially when you have world-class bowlers in your lineup. So, for example, what I mean by this is you can have Lungi Ngidi and you can have Anrich Nokia and Kagiso Rabada and whoever you have in your lineup bowl slower deliveries at you all day, because that's the thing that's going to get them to win matches as bowlers. So all they have to do is practice their skill and what makes them a world-class bowling attack, and do it against our batsmen that are struggling so that they can learn from that. But that should be enough for them to be able to adapt their game according to whoever bowls to them. Because, nobody's going to get the accuracy. If our bowling attack is world-class, like a lot of people are talking about our bowling attack as being that, then we should be able to practice against a world-class bowling attack, which is exactly what we have over here. So slower deliveries, things like that shouldn't hassle us if we're getting that practice in the nets, out in the middle, when they're doing their practice games, etc., etc. How do they improve that? What is your... There's a topic there that I want to talk about.
Because it's funny, because they bowl with these guys in the net. It's not like back in the day when Graham refused to take bowling from Morne Morkel in the nets. It's not like those days anymore. I'm sure they do get some balls from Kagiso or some balls from Thingy. We saw Lazard Williams towards the back end of this innings bowl that, what's that boy's name? That West Indian guy's slower ball that comes out the back of the hand.
Back of the hand.
Yes.
McCoy.
Yeah, Obed McCoy, the real
McCoy.
McCoy. Yes, we saw that, even though that one's like a half tracker. But it is possible that you get that. But the issue is, the problem with this team, it's not batting. It's not talent. It's reading the situation. And that's where we're losing games. This team is probably one of the most talented teams we can take to the World Cup. It's one of the most talented teams you can take to the World Cup. The problem is these guys don't know how to play together. They don't know how to read a game of cricket. And that's where Aditya comes in when he says this team's not growing. It isn't growing. Can someone tell, if they see improvement ever since Mark Boucher's come in, please come and show me on a whiteboard. Because I don't see it, because it's one step forward, two steps back. Today we took 2 steps back, but somehow the bowlers have learned something, and that's probably the one improvement. And funny enough, there's a bowling coach. Could we see the same improvement if we had a batting coach? With a batting strategy and a batting. So maybe that's where we need to go. Yes, Mark Boucher's taking over the batting responsibilities, but all we're seeing is reverse sweeps and lap sweeps. Those reverse sweeps and laps are everything that Mark Boucher told us he was teaching the guys. They taught these batsmen new shots. These are the new shots. Timber getting out to a reverse lap sweep that he nicks faintly. Guys looking to try find scoring options behind square when it's in the power play, when everyone's in the ring. Dude, hit over the top. So for me, that's where
Rassi's self-motivating as well. So
no, but what they're doing to Rassi is unfair. It's exactly. Seriously unfair. You cannot be batting him at 5. You're just trying to pigeonhole everybody into the squad. And here's the thing about Bavuma, for all the Bavuma people who want to hate Bavuma. Nobody asked for Bavuma to be captain. We were all surprised when Mark Boucher and Graham Smith made him captain. They need to answer your questions as to why Bavuma's in the 11 if you don't want him in the 11. It's never us. I'm just working off of what's given to us, and I can see why Timber was given an opportunity. He showed promise. So the questions you guys need to put in are there, and it's not even a transformation question. It isn't. It's a question of why, and that's the question that needs to be asked. Why did they make Timber captain if they're going to have a situation like this? Because right now they're in a hole. They're playing 4 openers because they don't want to leave people out, because somehow whoever's on form needs to be shuttled into the team, even though you need to drop between one of the 2 guys. You needed to drop Aiden or Yanaman. Pick one. Like, you can't take all of them to the World Cup. Also, Yanaman's not going to be in the World Cup squad. He's going to be in the 7 guys sitting in a hotel waiting to play in case somebody gets COVID. Like, I don't understand, like, where we're going with this. I really don't know where we're going with this team. It's really ridiculous that we're playing guys who are going to be sitting on a bench, not playing at the World Cup, and you're playing them now when you've got 6 T20s left, now you've got 5. But no, we need to try and pigeonhole everybody into this thing. If Mark doesn't know it's 15 by now, quite frankly, we're not doing much in that World Cup.
Guys, my likes counter is going to move up to 50, please. 50 likes at the end of this video. We're getting 50 people tuning in right now. To the new guys that are here, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I even made a fancy button for you guys. So you have to smash that subscribe button. Click that notification bell for all future videos, of course. And Tsepo is the perfect model for that subscribe button. The red button's over here at the bottom of the screen, somewhere there. So click it. Tsepo, you're coming to the stream. I know, bye. I'm going to get you to talk right now because you were in the Shamsi press conference, of course. Tsepo, we're complaining here because, yes, we're happy about the win, but the batting specifically, we're sick of saying that we haven't seen improvement in the batting. I mean, we are hoping that individuals perform. There's no team coherency when it comes to the batting necessarily. Aditya has been hopping on for months now about running between the wickets, finding other avenues to score runs. You don't need to be a big hitter to be attacking and aggressive. These are all lessons that we've been speaking about and tips we've been speaking about. But what's your thoughts on the batting, this particular game and South Africa's batting in general?
Guys, I don't understand why we're angry today. I have to go to another room, sorry. Sorry, guys, I don't understand why we're angry today. We won. We won the game. Not just winning the game, but we didn't, after a batting collapse at the beginning. It was pretty shocking. I won't lie. I was like, here we go again. This is not what I want to see. What do you want to see after a batting collapse? You want to see recovery. Did we not see that recovery from Aiden Markham and Rassie van der Dussen? Did they not build a pretty decent partnership? Did we not get to the par score on the ground of 160? Like, we say there's no batting plan, but we've been seeing consistent planning, as in attack the power play at the beginning. Quinton de Kock did it, trying to clear the inner field. Why do we keep saying that we don't see the plan? It's literally just about execution now. And Umpo, you even said it, Temba Bavuma 9 times out of 10 doesn't go out to that shot. Unlucky this time around. We're trying to assess conditions, guys. This isn't the T20 final. This is the first match of 3 matches. We're still trying to assess conditions, trying to find the right game plan, trying to find the right combinations. But now we're asking for people to have a 100% plan when we're still 70% of the way there. And I don't understand also, like, why we're angry about Yanaman Malan and Aiden Markham in the side. Look, Yanaman Malan just had a fantastic one-day international. What, after that now, no, he's going to be sitting bench. What did that do to the team morale? What did that do to other people that perform well? Now they perform well. Now they think that still doesn't guarantee a spot. Yanaman Malan has earned his spots. Aiden Markham has earned his spots. Heinrich Klaassen has not. So, obviously we're going to need other people to adapt to other roles. We've been saying that about a whole bunch of people. And now it's Aiden's turn to step up and fill in a gap, fill in the role of finisher, come in later in the innings, just adapt. And guys, we continuously score 160 runs. And you say that 9 times out of 10, that's not going to get you the win. Well, what is it? 4 times? 4 times? Yeah, 4 times out of 6, it's gotten us a win. So I don't understand what we're complaining about here. We're doing the right. Our bowling is doing well. Our bowling is bowling to our batting, or to what our batting can do. So I don't understand, what is it going to take for us to be satisfied with the South African performance? I'll never understand, because now we're still angry. This wasn't that bad. This really wasn't that bad.
Well, okay, Sepo, absolutely zero offense intended, but I think that kind of sounded like quite a cavalier take, because here's how I like to look at it. There's only a couple of months to go before the tournament starts. You need to figure out how you're going to play. You can't be saying, oh, maybe we're going to try this. Oh, maybe we're going to try that. It's we're going to play like this. We've got our plan clearly defined. We've got our squad clearly defined, and we didn't really see that. And this is another occasion where the bowlers won the game for South Africa. In reality, the score of 165, it could have been another 20 or 25 runs more had the batsmen applied themselves, especially David Miller, or if Aiden Markham had stuck around for a little bit longer. But with that being said, I know I made this comparison before, but if I'm going to go write an exam, I'm not doing it just to pass the exam. I would have knocked that thing out of the park.
When you look at it from a mock exam perspective, you want to be getting 90s on your mock exams to 100% on your mock exams before you get to your exams. So your final exams, because otherwise, if you're going to be putting in 60% performances, 50% performance, 60% performances continuously, and then going to the World Cup and hoping that you're going to get 100%, it's very difficult.
No more B's and C's. We need A's and A pluses. Just saying.
No, not even A's and A pluses. I'm not asking for A's and A pluses. I'm saying play Ireland for who they are. Ireland are not a team that should give you any problems, especially from a batting perspective.
Why not?
No, they shouldn't. They didn't bowl well today. They just bowled slower balls. We just didn't recognize slower balls. And it baffles me that we're sitting here going 160 on yes, the average score at Malahide is 160. Who plays at Malahide? Who plays Ireland at Malahide in T20s? It's not a big 14. So it's a short boundary. It's like the Wanderers. The pitch had bounce. The pitch was a little bit slow, but you should have gotten 180, 190. We left runs on the table. That's what we should be asking. The question that Mark and the guys should be saying to the guys is, you left runs on the table. Why did you leave runs on the table? And the reason why I'm saying there's no plan is because people are playing individual-based cricket. It's guys trying to eke out runs, trying to save themselves instead of trying to sort themselves out. And it's the problem about this is Mark Boucher said this, I think, sometime in the West Indies when he was like, no, he doesn't know what's going on. He's trying to get through to the guys, but the message isn't getting through. And so if the message isn't getting through, is the plan wrong? It's not the plan. The plan's not wrong. Are you not being able to get the message through to the guys, or are these guys not the right guys? And the issue I'm having is that with all of this is that I understand that maybe this is a small universe because we had COVID and everything else, but I think of a guy like Delano Potgieter. Really great bowler, really incredible finisher in the back end of the innings. He could have been in this thing. Why didn't we have more than one bowling all-rounder who could have backed up thingy if you're not going to play Andile Pehlukwayo? That tells me that's lack of planning. That's seriously lack of planning. For the guys who love him, the guys love him on the stream. Miguel Pretorius, why isn't he on tour? Marco Jansen was with the test team. He went home with Dean Elgar after the West Indies. Why isn't he playing? Vian Mulder is sitting in the hat, and we're busy expecting Kagiso at number 8 to score you 19 off 9 when you could have been scoring runs earlier on. All this tells me is a lack of planning, because at the West Indies we didn't play 4 openers. All of a sudden we're playing 4 openers when you've got 6 T20s left to the World Cup. And then you're not scoring over 170 because South Africa, I think there's only 2 times South Africa's defended 170 in the last 5 years before the West Indies tour. And after that, somehow we're defending 170, which is great. Our bowlers are amazing. I love them to bits. And I'm happy we won. But I can't be happy with a batting performance that gets us to the same spot that we had in the West Indies. And we weren't happy with the 170s in the West Indies. We're still not happy about it now. And now we're crying, no, but that's a pass goal for Malahide. When Ireland play Netherlands, Namibia, and Afghanistan, and they haven't had a Big 4 international team come to them in the past 7 years. So what are we it's apples for apples. It's courses. When Manchester United play Burnley, you expect Manchester United to win 3-0. You don't expect them to go and lose. And if they draw to Burnley, when Burnley have a strong game,
I expect.
And we're saying that we're happy
to lose.
Now
even if they went
to
1-0
draw,
down at half time, if it's 1-1 at the end of the game, are you going to be like, no, we're happy that they came back? Yes, you're happy they came back, but we can't be happy about this. We really can't. Our batting is, we don't know which personnel, 6 games, like literally there's 5-6 games to the World Cup. We don't know who's in our top 6, which is worrying to say the least. We don't know how to score 200, which is even scary, because how do you chase 200 if you don't know how to score it? And then on top of that, you go into wickets where spin is going to be prevalent and slow balls are going to be prevalent. And that's the one thing that gets our wickets. And everyone's like, and we must be calm. 4 months before World Cup. And we're seeing that.
Aditya showed me something, and I want Aditya to climb in here because you showed me something. Let me just find it quickly. In the week. Okay, yeah, most times chasing targets of 300 plus. This was in ODIs, right? 11 from England, 4 from Australia, 4 from India, 4 from New Zealand, 2 from South Africa, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Zimbabwe. So like the difference between England, who won the championship, this is in ODIs since the World Cup. So like the difference between chasing big totals. Now I don't know the T20s, what the T20s is, but I know for a fact almost likely that England will be able to chase 200. I mean, we saw what they did against us here in South Africa in favorable conditions. My concerns here is that there has been no effort of searching to try and find that number 6. Because if you're looking for a number 6, because we were told, and we can only go on what we were told by the coaches and the managers and etc. We were told that we are trying to iron out those couple of last positions in the team that we are missing. Because South Africa knows their basic 5, and we're trying to look like, for the basic 12 or 13 players, we're trying to look for those other spots in the team and lineup. And there maybe is a number 6 that we're looking for to score runs. But there's been no effort at looking for a big hitter. The guys that are considered big hitters in South African cricket have not really been given an opportunity. They've been put in the squad, and then something happens, they're out of the squad, and they never get the actual opportunity to actually play. And I don't count Kyle Verreynne as a big hitter, because he's not your regular big hitter. Dwayne Pretorius is supposed to be that, but Dwayne has been unlucky with getting injuries and COVID leading into the World Cup. We haven't spoken to Morris. I don't want to look for a number 6, but we haven't given anybody that are the number 6s in the country enough opportunities to be able to prove themselves on the international stage. Aditya, can you just give me your thoughts on this? And then Tsepo and Abai.
Yeah, look, it's a messy situation, unfortunately, because if you go by what Enoch said in his press conference, that we want to get our top order to be as stable as possible, and the logical thing to do would have been to carry on from the lineup that they had in the West Indies. Instead, they go in here with 4 openers. And, one thing that I just find to be absolutely preposterous is the fact that Rassie van der Dussen, who's been South Africa's best batsman and most consistent batsman in T20 internationals, has been moved from his position at 4 to 5. A guy who can consistently give you 50 plus scores is now reduced to giving you 25 plus scores. And that to me is crazy. I'm sick of seeing South Africa score like 160. They haven't even gone past 170 in the last 6 T20s that they've played. And the other thing is that South Africa should be proud of its bowling performance. But
yeah,
we also need to recognize that West Indies, for all their power hitting, is also a one-dimensional team in many ways. They rely on their big hits, but every surface is not going to be conducive to that style of play. They don't. Again, for my obsession with dot balls, they consume the most of virtually every single team in that top 10 list of international teams, because they have that faith that they're going to be able to clear the boundary. So it was great to see Shamsi and Linda do well in the West Indies. And it was great to see them perform the way they did tonight as well. But it's not going to work with teams who are more multi-dimensional. England is brilliant with running between the wickets. They're also good at hammering oppositions. It's the same with India. You're not going to be able to strangle India with spin. It simply isn't going to work. And we saw what Pakistan did in the T20 series as well. So I personally feel like South Africa has a lot to worry about. And while it's good to be 1-0 up in this series, they seriously need to figure out this. They need to figure out what their batting order is going to be and find a proper strategy, because they've got to find ways to score 190 and 200 on a regular basis, and they need to find a way of playing on slow and low pitches as well, because just soaking up dot balls and then finding a release shot is not going to work against high quality bowling attacks.
To an extent, we're lucky that the World Cup will be in the UAE, because I think we're getting a lot of practice on slower wickets right now. That's the one thing we can be happy about with regards to this. Chepo?
Yeah, I'm still not like convinced by the arguments that we should be worried. I think that the questions that you're posing to the coaching department or the coaching department, sorry, I've been at Wits all day, but the coaching group are questions that are going to take a lot of time to answer. Like, for us to establish a batting lineup, you guys are expecting people to have the answers to these questions with 6 games to go to the World T20. How many T20s did we play like before that? So I'm assuming we're considering the T20s that we played against England or Australia at the beginning of 2020. Then there was that period where we didn't play any cricket, and then we got back to cricket, and we basically had to start from square one. Not just that, we had to start without our IPL players, and we're starting to see now that there's a selection headache in terms of the bowlers. We're only starting to figure out now that you can't go in with your premier fast bowlers. You can't go in with the threatening 3 all the time. So for us to say that this team isn't improving, this team isn't adapting, this team isn't developing, I think is a bit harsh. And I also think that we're going to need to give these guys more time to get to the level of England. Guys, England are on a whole different level of like a deep talent pool. The amount of games they play is also stupid. Like, we don't get the same amount of games. You don't get the same amount of time to actually figure these things out. So honestly, it looks like there's a plan here. It looks like we're playing with what we've got. We don't have a deep batting lineup like the West Indies. We have batsmen that need to take their time to get in. We had a plan of how to finish our late overs with a strong middle order that had David Miller. Guys, why would we try to nurture someone to replace David Miller when David Miller is at his peak? Like, this gap in the middle orders that David Miller is supposed to fill, he was supposed to fill it. Like, and now he's not. So now we're trying to find different ways to fill those gaps. And like, is it a bad idea to take an informed batsman and move him into that gap? Just say, look, you did well over there. We see that you're good. Now we need a versatile player that like can move down the order. And that's what's happening with Rassie van der Dussen. Yes, it's unfortunate, but the fact of the matter is there's a gap in the middle order, and we need a good batsman to fill it. We're not just going to coy in someone that we got from the domestic scene, because that, number one, messes up the balance. And number two, like, what are you doing to that person's career? Sending them in so early, they're going to get chowed, they're going to get ridiculed. So honestly, I think we need to give the coaching staff a little bit more credit for their adaptability and for scoring 160 at a constant rate. You guys can bash it, but until it flops, I'm still going to be an advocate for we did a good job. We went according to the plan. We got the W that we went to get. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I see your point of view, and I love your positivity, Tsepo. It's excellent for the stream, and it's good to get a different viewpoint from all of us. I've been saying it for a long time now. I think I've been talking about this before 2019 already, the World Cup 2019 already. But even when Boucher took over, I wanted to see Porter's told us now 22 T20s have been played since Boucher took over. And I wanted to see that, and that I wanted to see the mentality then already. I wanted to see them do it back then already, but it looked like to me that Boucher was scared of losing games, and he played with that mentality, and that's why he picked people that he trusted. We saw the likes of Byte van Biljon get opportunities. We saw John Smuts. Aaron is that's Aaron's favorite. We've seen the likes of those guys getting opportunities, but not guys that could, because 22 is enough for a youngster to come in that has the potential to become a big hitter. Not even a youngster. I'm talking about maybe a Marco Marais who's shown that quality at domestic level. Why not give a guy like him 22 games to run and play that number 6 role and say, look, we're going to trust you to be our finisher for the World Cup. Here's 22 games for a year and a half to play and practice and get your mind into international cricket. You have more than enough time to settle in. Let's do it. Or give your guys, if you want to play with more all-rounders, give all-rounders an opportunity like Michael Proteas and all of those guys. Give them a chance to play those 20, but have that plan already then. Not mix and match and change and swap around. We're still doing the same thing. We're switching around. We've seen how many different top 6, top 7s in the last couple of series now. I mean, it's been switched around constantly. When Markram performs, okay, now Markram scored 350s in a row in Pakistan. Okay, let's throw him. Oh, was it against West Indies or whoever? I can't remember. Pakistan. You score quick 50s in a row. Now you're the informed guy. We're going to throw you in. Now Rassi's the most consistent guy. Okay, you're the guy that can change your game plan most likely the most. Okay, we're going to throw you in at number 5 now. 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 7. I'm just being elaborate. I'm obviously being sarcastic and over-exaggerating over here. But generally speaking, that's what's happening. I'm seeing uncertainty because then we have Boucher saying in a press conference, we're looking for a versatile batsman, and a guy like Aiden is our versatile guy because he plays anywhere in the domestic cricket. He bats in different positions. But then you drop Rassie to 5 and put Aiden at 4. So that's a concern for me because your best batsman is Rassie van der Dussen in white ball cricket currently. Besides, other than Quinton de Kock, of course. Quinton de Kock is in his own bracket. Don't Quinton de Kock is in his own little bolt. But ultimately, you need to then play your best batsman in the best positions first. And I know that Bavuma hasn't performed, but guys, we need to be realistic here about Temba Bavuma. We didn't pick Bavuma as captain. Boucher did, and the selectors did. So we as a unit, as a Cricket Fanatics Magazine over here, as a fan base, need to talk about it as if it was real. So we know that Bavuma is going to be picked as captain. So we can't be continuously slating him because that's not going to make a difference if they believe that is the case. We're not going to make a difference to Mark Boucher's mind by us talking crap about Bavuma all the time. So I'm not trying to we accommodating Bavuma, Bevan saying, it's not our choice to make. So, but Boucher has decided that Temba is going to be his captain. He made that decision.
Who else can be captain? Sorry for interrupting, Khalid, but
Rassie van der Dussen can be your captain for ODIs and T20s. They chose not to go to Rassie. They went to Temba. And you could have even said, Aiden Markram, let's give him an extended run, even though ODIs are good because Graham Smith was captain at 22. There were so many other options, but you went to Temba when Temba had only played 6 matches in ODIs and 6 matches in T20s. He'd done quite well. He averages 45 in ODIs. T20s, he was striking at 138 when he became captain. So, yes, it looks good. It looks great for nation building, and I love it. But if it's going to create so many headaches, but I don't think it's creating headaches in Mark Boucher's mind or the selector's mind. It's creating headaches in the fans'
it's about fan base.
And I think that's where the thing comes in. But looking at the stats, as I've said to you guys in the private chat, South Africa have played 22 T20 since Mark Boucher took over. We've scored over 194 times. All those times we've lost. And the latest time was against Pakistan when we scored 200. This team is not reaching par scores. That tells you something. It's not reaching par scores of anywhere else. That 200 against Pakistan was against at Centurion, and Baba Azam and Mohammad Rizwan went buck wild. The bowling has improved since then, which is great. We've got Tempo coming, but South Africa have used 29 players since Mark Boucher has taken over in T20 cricket. We still don't know. Don't know.
You know, Werner, this concerns me, your comment, because Khalid, I think Boucher was putting all his chips in on AB coming back. It's the dumbest decision you could have made then. To put all your eggs in one basket against AB coming back, which was always going to be very, very shaky. No one knew the certainty about that. So, like, to throw all your eggs in one basket and not have a backup plan as a coach that has a contract for 4 years, that's a bad sign for me. So, Abai, you didn't get the opportunity. Sorry. You can have your say.
All right. Let me first start with the mentality thing. So, it's not a bad thing to be positive. Like, I like to remain optimistic, but at the same time, there's nothing bad about delivering constructive criticism. And with only a couple of months going into the World Cup, I really don't think it's the right approach to say that, oh, we're still figuring out solutions, because that should have happened like around January, or if I'm really pushing it, maybe February, or I could even go up to March. But with that being said, I want to address the Werner's comments. So can I see that real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was about AB de Villiers. He says Mark Boucher putting all.
Yeah, I don't think that decision made any sense, because first of all, AB de Villiers, there was a lot of uncertainty as to whether or not he'd come back. Even if he were to put all eggs in one basket, at least back someone who's a regular in the T20 team to do the job, and that would make more sense. I think. What? What was that? Okay. Yeah.
Continue, man.
And then one more thing, as far as finishers were concerned, I think Pite got the short end of the stick. I don't think we quite got to see the best of him. In fact, I remember Khalid saying that if you pick someone experienced and around the 34, 35 age range, you've got to play him every single game. And make sure that he gets a proper chance to show that he actually is good enough. But there have been quite a few games where he barely faced like a couple of balls and didn't do much. And he did play a couple of handy innings against Pakistan, but surely that warranted a bit of an extended run. I mean, it's not like he's going to be playing for South Africa for a super long time, but with two World T20s, like one this year and one next year, he could definitely make a handy short-term option. And plus, even though he's been able to do it at domestic level, he has the experience, he has the ability. Why not back him? I don't see what's there to lose.
Time is there to lose. Like we're going around in circles, being like, guys, how do you not have your top six established? Whoa. And then we're like, oh, but why didn't this guy get a chance? Whoa. Like, how are we going to balance these two arguments and like to give it like proper reason? How are you going to give batsmen enough time to set themselves in, to establish themselves in a side, and not just that, like dislodge people that are already there, like David Miller. And sorry, Werner, I love your comments, but the chat about AB, no backup plan, please. Rassie van der Dussen, he was literally the backup plan, and he did well. So we need to put a bit more respect on Mark Boucher's name, guys. We're acting like this guy's not doing anything, he's not thinking, guys. Come on. He does have backup plans. He is trying to blood new players. But like, how many players does he have to choose between to blood? And how do they all fit into the side? How do they all fit in perfectly without dislodging like players that are already there, that are already established? You know, I feel like
he has dislodged Rassie. That's the question.
But he's not out the team though. He's still in the order. He's just moved him around to accommodate for other players, because Rassie van der Dussen is good enough to take those hits. So with moving yourself in the lineup, and also with like the captaincy, you can't just do that with anyone. You need the right person for the job. You need someone that is adaptable, someone that like and can handle themselves under pressure. Because if you get someone that's not like that, it's going to be problematic. So
Simple.
it's going to cost them. So that's what I'm saying.
One question about Rassie. Rassie's batted 5 for the past, I think, three innings, 4 innings, 4 games. What has he scored? It's pretty much nothing. It's been very bad. You can see it's out of position, and to a certain extent, he's doing it for the cause of the team. But like I've always said, your best players must need to face the most amount of balls. Rassie is the one of those players, and Quinny's the other of those players. David Miller has now kicked himself out of that conversation for me. But your best players need to face the most number of balls. And if Rassie bats at 4, at least I know that I've got a spine to work around in case Quinny doesn't fire. And batting him at 5, today there was a collapse, that's fine. Batting him at 5 and expecting him to come after over 10 is a little bit too tough on a guy who you require so much from. It's an age-old AB argument. I'm not saying it's a Mark Barcher situation. There are 3 other selectors in that selection panel. But AB de Villiers, throughout his international career, was batted 1 position too low. He should have been coming in much earlier, even in ODIs and in T20 cricket, because we're trying to fit guys in. We're trying to make guys be versatile. And that's how we lost Stian van Zyl in the system. That's how Aiden Markram's going to suffer in international cricket, because guys want him to play in the middle order when his best position's an opener. And that's how Rassie is going to finish his career. If he keeps on batting at 5, he's going to finish his T20 career in a very bad place, because he's batting in a position that's not his. And we should find guys to fit into that thing. He's seen 29 players. He needs to figure out who those guys are, because we've got 5 games to go to the World Cup. There's no more playing now. Show me your 11 and I'll show you your future.
So tell me, just in response to that, do you want the best 11 players on the field, or do you want I say right 11 as in like people batting in their comfortable positions? Which would be better for you?
The right 11 people batting in their comfortable positions, because that gets me further.
What if you have
11.
someone that's an opening batsman
today and
that is
at the back end of the West Indies?
But
Aiden
what if
Markram
you have-
batting at 3 was fine. Aiden Markram batting at 3 was fine. The question was, why are we fitting in Yanaman when at the West Indies you told me that you're close enough to your 11? Mark Barcher sat in the press conference and said he's close to his 11. He knows who his guys are. So why are we giving Yanaman an opportunity 6 games before a World Cup when Aiden Markram had made that spot his own? Aiden Markram and Yanaman Malan bats together again in Pakistan. We saw that Aiden was a better batsman as an opener. Yes, you have to fit Timber in, that's fine. So Aiden bats at 3, Rassie bats at 4, and then you can figure out what you want at 5 and 6. But this thing of trying to bring somebody in when you've told us at the West Indies you're close to your 11, when we all know that Yanaman's not making it to the World Cup if Faf is playing, and we know that Faf will play. And so, I don't get where Mark Barcher was going with the selection. And that's my issue with all of that. Yanaman didn't play in the West Indies, and he said to us in the presser that this was very close to what his 11 was going to be. And he was happy with that. So I don't understand why we're seeing Yanaman in this series now. You should be testing your squad depth. And your squad depth tells you that Aiden, sadly, could be the guy missing out when Faf comes in, because you're probably going to take one batsman and another batting all-rounder. So if Dwayne and Faf come back, Yanaman's probably going to be the 7 guys sitting out on the side, which is why we're not seeing Carl Verena. And to a certain extent, that's why you're not seeing Heino Klaasen. Heino Klaasen's he might be the extra wicketkeeper in the squad, in the 15-man squad, which means that Yanaman's nowhere near the side. Yes, we're taking 22 guys, but the 7 guys are going to be sitting in a hotel room. So what is he trying to do? That was my issue today.
Yeah.
Yanaman shouldn't be on the field.
Yeah, let's move this on, guys. We can obviously have another discussion again on this in more in depth, but we probably will be talking about this a lot this week. Abai, just give us some insight, because we have to obviously mention Shamsi was excellent, and he needs all the credit for the way he performed today. Lungi Ngidi was excellent. KG Rabada bowled quite well. George Linder bowled well. Lazard Williams was alright. I would have preferred a better performance from him, or maybe a wicket or 2, but ultimately, Shamsi was the star of the show again. Abai, you were in his press conference. Just give me some insight from the guy, because he's also another guy like Seppo. He's a very positive guy, believes in his team and believes in everybody. So that's a great energy also to have amongst the team. But just give me some insight into what he said.
Yeah. So first of all, I think the batting conversation is starting to become a little bit monotone. I guess that can be for some other time. But Shamsi he's such a passionate guy to listen to. So fortunate to head over to his press conference. So regarding his wicket taking ability, he says wickets aren't necessarily something that's in my control. I bowl balls that could potentially get me wickets. It all depends on how the batsman in the context play me out at that time. So the consistency, it all comes with experience and practice. Ever since I've started playing regularly in the green and gold, I've wanted to gain more and more experience. Even at the moment, I still don't have a whole lot of international experience. At the moment, I can either take wickets or control the flow of runs, and I'm prepared to do either role. It all depends on what the team needs more of. If I'm not taking wickets, it's not the end of the world. I've matured as a player, so my role is very flexible. So I think we know that he used to, during his early days, he was a seamer, but coaches told him he wasn't quick enough. But at the same time, he still has the passion and flair that we normally associate with fast bowlers like Alan Donald, Dale Steyn, Andre Nell. And next he said, I'll do whatever it takes to help us win games. I'm one of the guys in the side who's in charge of making sure that we never back down, and I'm happy that the team as a whole is playing like that. As far as him taking wickets is concerned, he says that it always helps when there are wickets early on. So if the bowlers before him are doing well, it's likely that he'll do well and be among the wickets too. And before he got the chance to bowl, Ireland was already 4 down, so that made the situation much easier for him when he was introduced to bowl. Let's see. Next, okay, all these guys haven't seen their families in close to 2 months. So he said he's doing all right from a cricketing perspective, but at the end, we're all human beings, and everyone's been away from home for a while. It does pose its own set of challenges, but ultimately the onus is on us to make do with it and perform, and as a result, bring the happiness back home. So everyone's gotten together and tried to help each other out from the mental side of things. Somebody did ask him about his rankings. So he said, first of all, he is aware that he is a top-ranked T20 bowler, but at the same time, it isn't something that he really loses sleep over. So, but at the same time, it feels very thrilling to be on the top of the table. He's pretty modest. He said that he isn't the bowler. He isn't the best bowler, let alone in this world, in this Proteas team either. So the rankings isn't necessarily something he thinks about. So he says, even if you're not on top of your game, even the best bowler can ruin your day, or best batsman, can ruin your day. And he wasn't quite sure how the ranking works. Last but not least, he's very grateful that he's getting more and more frequent game time. He said earlier on in his career, it was like one game now and then another game a couple of months down the road. He's not arguing against that or anything, but he's been able to learn from his mistakes after getting more and more game time, and he can learn his mistakes in a shorter space of time. So ultimately, you've got to keep toiling hard, and there will be times when things don't go as planned. So if you aren't able to contribute with your skill set, you can at least try to help behind the scenes. So that was the essence of his presser.
Yeah, guys, I think that sums up enough. I mean, what we have to say for today. I think it was an excellent stream from all of us. So thanks a lot, everybody, for coming on the show. Thanks a lot, Aditya, Mpo, Tsepo, Abai. I just want to extend my condolences to one of my closest friends. His father passed away today, so I just want to say, grant him the highest place in heaven, of course, and to all the deceased. I mean, another friend of mine, his father passed away about a week ago, Mr. Gogs Adams, and now today, of course, Muhammad Alexander, Ali Alexander. So both were exceptional people in the community of cricket and what they've done for cricket, particularly in the Western Province region as well. They were really father figures to a lot of people and father figures to all. So I just want to, everybody that has passed away during this difficult time, I just want to say I grant you all, and our prayers are all with you, and we wish that you have the highest place in heaven. God, peace be on God. Wishes and blessings upon you all. I was going to say it in Islam because I'm usually used to saying it, obviously in my own language. So inshallah, all the praises to you, all of you. Yeah. So, guys, it's Eid for us tomorrow, of course, and I mean Eid on tomorrow or Wednesday. So, also Eid Mubarak to everybody out there as well. And I hope you guys have a splendid day and a splendid weekend. All of you guys out there, thanks a lot for coming on the show and giving your time to us. I want to see 50 likes on this particular video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. And also become a subscriber of our magazine. The link is on the screen and in the description. I will put it there for you right now. cricketfanaticsmag.com/monthly-magazine. The link is in the description as well. So you can become a subscriber for free. And what that does is you'll have back issues as well. You'll have all access to the back issues for free as well. So don't worry about that. There's no charge. We just want to give you the best content that we possibly can give you. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And we'll see you again tomorrow with another daily show. And we'll also give you some insight onto when our preview show. I think the preview show will be on the 21st of July. So that's when our preview show will be for the next game. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Take care, everybody. And be safe because this is a difficult time. So be safe. Thanks a lot. Cheers.